Good afternoon. No, it's not afternoon. It is afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about the budget. We are everything budget right now. We're doing a live stream, and I'm going to give you live analysis of what's happening in the budget in the United Kingdom. So, look, guys, my prediction before we get on, and I've said this from quite a while ago, I believe that everybody's going to be poorer after today. I believe there's going to be a lot of money moving out of the country. I believe there's going to be a lot of private companies closing down and a lot of people just saying, thank you very much, good sir. I am done, Shalibamun, and I'm all good with this. So what do we know so far? What's moving forwards? The budget should be out any minute now, guys. The budget should be out any minute now. So let me just give you guys a quick rundown on what we know so far. So I'm going from the BBC right now, guys, and they're doing live updates. Remember, as soon as she starts speaking, as soon as we get this, let me have a look. Yeah, as soon as this happens, guys, I will, as soon as we get the budget, I will jump straight over to the budget, guys, okay? So details of the budget are released early, revealing millions will pay more tax and the 2-child benefit cap will be lifted. So this 2-child benefit cap thing, guys, all right, look, I understand that people want to support their children. I really do. You know, I understand that families want extra support to raise their children. I understand that. I really do. I'm just conscious of the type of people that are going to be banging out kids now, left, right, and centre. Are the people having children going to be those people who are going to work every day, coming back, paying their taxes, paying their bills, trying to make ends meet? Or are there just going to be a load of people just in houses thinking, do you know what? If we bang out a shitload of kids, we're going to get a shitload of money. Now, I don't know what you guys think. That's a question. That's not or is it an opinion? I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So the Office for Budget Responsibility unexpectedly publishes its growth forecast ahead of Rachel Reeves' statement at 12:30 GMT. So like 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. She's due to be up in 1 minute. So the report revealed... Oh, hang on. There's just been another one. Right, hang on, guys. Let me go back. Hang on. I think she's on. No, she's not on. Right, let me just jump over. Right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, actually, everybody. Right, guys, if you're on and you've not done so already, can you please make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe button? We're talking about budget, everything budgetary today, guys. Let me go back onto that from the BBC. I've done that one. Right, so I'm going to give you guys a quick... Oh, hang on. No. I'm going to give you guys a quick recap. So what do we know so far? There's going to be a freeze in income tax thresholds, a new mileage for electric vehicles from 2028. So that's going to be 3 pence per mile. That's going to be 3 pence per mile on electric cars. For what? 3 pence? Right, okay. There will be a new mileage tax for electric vehicles. The charge will equal to 3 pence per mile for battery electric cars and 0.15 pence for plug-in hybrids, with the rate per mile increasing. So I would say, ladies and gentlemen, from that, you know, when they introduce these new taxes, so we've got pay per mile tax now on, and remember, you know, these new taxes like this is a new tax, and it's 3 pence per mile, or 1.5 pence per mile if you have a plug-in hybrid. Now, when you introduce these new taxes at 3 pence per mile, guess what? Next budget, you can put that up to 4 pence per mile. The one after that, you can put it up to 5 pence per mile, then 6 pence per mile. And once you introduce these new taxes, you can keep raising them. The two-child benefit cap within universal credit is being lifted from April 26. The removal will cost... How can they tell how much it will cost? Because that makes no sense. Its removal will cost 2.3 billion. Salary sacrifice pension contributions above 2,000 will face national insurance. There will be a new tax on houses worth more than 2 million. The report calls it a high value tax on properties worth over 2 million. Now, I don't think this is going to do anything, guys. I think what they're going to do is they're just going to keep lowering that down. Remember, when people talk about these new taxes, it's very easy once a new tax is in to raise that tax or lower the threshold of that tax. Lower growth is forecast, so it looks like the pound is plummeting, guys. It does look like the pound is plummeting. Right, let me just have a look over, guys. Oh, hang on. Right, so I think they've got the kids in at Westminster at the moment, guys. I'll just share this with you real quick. So I think they've got a child. I think there's a child at Westminster. Let me share this with you.
And just a moment ago, it seems the OBR analysis has also appeared online. This all falls short of standards that the House expects. The premature disclosure of the contents of the budget has always been regarded as a supreme discourtesy to this House and to all the democratically elected members, not to mention to Mr. Speaker and to myself, the Chairman of Ways and Means. The government's own ministerial code cannot be clearer, as set out in paragraph 9.1. When Parliament is in session, the most important announcements of government policy should be made in the first instance to Parliament. Mr. Speaker has always upheld the rights of this House and its members to be treated with respect and to be the first to hear major government policy announcements on behalf of their constituents. As Chairman of Ways and Means, I have responsibility to oversee the House's consideration of the budget statement and the ensuing resolutions, which are described in Erskine May, paragraph 36-33, as the most important business of Ways and Means in this House. I want honourable members on all sides of the House to have adequate opportunity to hold the Chancellor to account, rather than hear and read about new policies on a daily basis in the media. And like many, I also expected better. Before I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer, I remind honourable members that copies of the budget resolutions will be available to them from the vote office in members' lobby at the end of the Chancellor's statement and online.
Just quickly, guys, I was wrong. I thought they had the young parliament in because I thought this girl was like I thought she was just like at school or something. What I will say quickly is, oh, hang on. Get ready to be poorer, guys. Get ready to be poorer. And look how small she is.
Madam Deputy Speaker.
Chancellor.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it is my understanding that the Office of Budget Responsibility's Economic and Financial Outlook was released on their website before this statement. This is deeply disappointing and a serious error on their part. The Office for Budget Responsibility have already made a statement taking full responsibility for their breach. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are rebuilding our economy. Over the last 16 months, we have overhauled our planning system to get Britain building, forged new trade deals with the United States, India, and the European Union, reformed our visa system to bring the brightest and the best to Britain. We changed our fiscal rules.
Right, I'm going to stop sharing that for a second, guys, until she actually gets into the meat of it. But I think what we can all understand is I don't think this is going to be as bad as everybody was making out. We're going to have to see, guys, okay? But so Donna is saying the entire budget is online. Now, the main things for me, guys, is like lifting this two-child cap, lifting this two-child cap. who do you think are going to have all these kids? Like, you know, if you're saying to people now, if you have more children, we will pay you more. Who do you think is going to have more children? And that terrifies me, guys. That really does terrify me. So that's a massive thing for me. Let me just jump back real quick, guys. Let me jump back real quick.
But we made these choices for a reason. Because after 14 years of Conservative government, working people demanded and deserved change. Investment, not cuts to our public services. Stability for our public finances. The single most important factor in getting the cost of living down. And economic growth, the best means to improve wages, create jobs, and support public services. That is what our plan, that is what this government and our Prime Minister are all about. Today's budget builds on the choices that we have made since July last year. To cut NHS waiting lists, to cut the cost of living, and to cut debt and borrowing. No doubt we will face opposition again, but I have yet to see a credible...
So it does look like all this information's out already, guys. It does. It looks like all this information's out already. So I'm going to read through it while she's waffling there for a minute, guys, okay? So that little girl, I don't know who she was in the big chair. She just told everybody off for releasing the budget early. Now, I don't know how this budget got released early, but I do think there's going to be a massive, you know, you can't tax, like, you cannot tax your way out of, you know, you can't tax your way you cannot tax your way into prosperity. It just doesn't work like that, guys. You know, it does not work like that. So let me just jump down. Faisal Islam, he's saying, it is beyond extraordinary that the OBR document has been published about 2 hours ahead of time. With all the policies and all the market-critical fiscal numbers are out in the wild, the markets are reacting before the Chancellor has even stood up. Listen, guys, people will be making a shit ton of money off this. They will. People will be making a shit ton of money. I have just read out the major tax measures and the numbers on BBC Politics Live. History of the wrong sort. Incredible. So there we are, guys. We're making history of the wrong sort. That's what people are saying. So let me just run through this real quick, guys. Okay. I think it's the Office for Budgetary Responsibility or something. They're claiming now that we will have a lower rate of growth in the United Kingdom, which means we're going to be a lot poorer. And we are, guys, okay? So things will go up. You know, I've not heard anything on fuel or alcohol yet, so I am waiting to hear that, guys. Okay, I am waiting to hear that. Let me just jump back and see where we are. Let's jump back and share this. Sorry, guys, I am doing this live. Let's share this screen.
Growth doesn't just appear out of thin air. It is built patiently and stubbornly by people who take risks, by founders who bet their savings on an idea, by firms breaking into new markets, developing new technologies and creating new jobs and new opportunities, by the men and the women who work hard every day in all parts of our country. Our job is not to watch from the sidelines, but to partner with them, backing them every step of the way, to match private enterprise with public ambition. I would like to thank my team of officials at the Treasury for their hard work in preparing this budget. In the spring, the Office of Budget Responsibility forecast that...
Right, I'm gonna jump onto the chat, guys. I'm gonna jump onto the chat until she stops waffling, because she's giving, you know, she's giving quite a lot of waffle there. Right, let me jump up. Monokov is saying she must not have slept well recently. Some right bags under her eyes. Yeah, you can imagine. Will is saying, do people believe this is real? No, I don't believe this is real, mate. I don't believe this is real. I believe everything has already been planned out. I reckon this is already, I reckon this is already planned. People know exactly what's coming. I think that listen, guys, and this is just me. I think that release of information, so all the numbers are already out, and I think those number release that was done on purpose because people are making a ton of money. Sherry is saying, look at Starmer, what a tool. Well, we all know that Keir Starmer's dad was a tool maker, right? His dad was a tool maker. Crazy Clewin is saying they're all working for the devil, El Diablo. And Crazy Kelvin again is saying, expect nothing but doom and gloom from this government. More doom and gloom to come. I agree, guys, And look, the main, the three things that I've noticed about this budget are terrifying. Terrifying. My three things that I've noticed that are terrifying. The new tax on mansions, the new pay per mile tax, and lifting the 2-child benefit cap. Those things are going to be catastrophic, okay? So who's going to have these children? Who's going to have more? Right now, who's going to have all these children? Where are all these children coming from? So if you say to people, right, for example, if you say to people who are not working, if you have more kids, we'll pay you more. What's going to happen? And I'm meaning no disrespect, guys, okay? Are those the people we want to be raising children? Are those the people we want to be raising children? Again, we don't want to be in the situation like they are in China, like they are in China where they're getting a population bottleneck. We don't want to be in that situation. It's just crazy, guys. It's just absolutely crazy. The pay per mile, okay? So the government are bringing in something called pay per mile. Let me just click back, guys, real quick. Sorry, guys. No. So they're bringing back. So they're starting something called pay per mile. Now, what they're saying is for electric cars, fully electric cars, you will pay 3 pence per mile. Now, the problem here is. You see where I'm going, right? The problem here is once you introduce a new tax, it's very easy to raise that tax or lower the threshold, whichever raises you more money. So now everybody's looking at this new tax, pay per mile, and it's like 3 pence, and they're thinking, oh, that's fine, 3 pence per mile. What about when it's 4 pence per mile? What about when it's 5 pence per mile? What about when it's 20 pence per mile? What about in 5 or 10 years' time where it's like £1 per mile? You guys see where I'm going, right? You guys can see the direction of travel. Also, the mansion tax. Now, they're claiming this, and I don't think it's going to raise that much money, guys. The mansion tax. And again, I know you guys may be sat there thinking I don't live in a mansion, so it doesn't really matter, and that may be true. But once you've started that mansion tax, it's very easy to raise or lower that threshold. So, for example, the mansion is being a mansion that I think they're claiming it's £2 million and above. Now, here's the thing, right? First of all, who's going to be valuing that house? Like, who's going to value that house? So you can imagine right now, there are people sat in the United Kingdom who will have a house that maybe is worth £2 million. And they'll think, yeah, I'm not fucking paying that. I'm going to sell it. Why are you going to sell it? Oh, because I got the mansion tax. Okay. Well, what are you going to sell it for? I'll sell it for 2 million. Well, nobody's going to buy it for 2 million because it's, they're going to have to pay that extra tax. Okay. So what are you going to sell it for? I'm going to have to sell it for 1.5 million. So now, then what happens? You see where I'm going with this, guys? You see how absurd this is? So like something is only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it. So if you say that the mansion tax is for houses on 1.2 million, and then that person sells that house and they don't get 2 million for it, they get 1.5 million for it. How much is that house worth? Is that house still worth 2 million, even though the person paid 1.5 million for it? So what the government will have to do is they'll have to lower that threshold. So first it starts off at 2 million and they don't raise any money. They don't raise any money. They won't. They'll raise peanuts, guys. They'll raise absolute peanuts. then they'll have to lower that threshold. So they'll say, okay, 1.5 million is a mansion now. Okay, right. Guys, like 1.5 million is not, depending on where it is, maybe like Northern Scotland somewhere. But as you lower this threshold, that's just going to turn into like a big house tax. It'll just be a big house tax. It'll be like just a tax for the sake of taxing. Let me jump back over, guys. Yeah, I'm not convinced, guys. She's still waffling. I don't want waffle. I want numbers. But you know, a lot of these numbers are out. So let's just have a look what the live updates are. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, we're going through the budget, the budget of doom, the budget of doom. And I'm not going to lie, guys. From what I've seen so far, it doesn't look that bad, which is bad. I know that doesn't sound right, but it doesn't look that bad. So therefore, it's going to be worse. And what I'm meaning by that is, like, if you've got a problem, you need to rip the plaster off. So if the government do need to raise money for whatever reason, we might as well just get it over and done with really quickly, and then be happy afterwards. What I think the government are doing is tearing this plaster off slowly to maximize pain. That's what it feels like, guys. It feels like pain maximizing budget. Right, so she's saying she's going to raise 8 billion by freezing the tax threshold. That doesn't make sense. Pensions, taxing salary sacrificed pensions will raise 4.7 billion. Property savings and dividends. Increasing the tax rate on dividends, property and savings income by 2% will raise 2.1 billion. Corporation tax, reducing the writing down allowance rate in corporation tax, 1.5 billion. Electric vehicles, I don't think that's going to. Gambling. Reduction capital gains tax relief. So they're going to reduce that. That doesn't sound good either. Mansion tax. Okay. So a council tax surcharge on properties over 2 million is going to raise 400 million. That's nothing, guys. I told you. What did I just say? Fuel duty. Okay, fuel duty is going to be offset. So they're not going to, these tax raises are partially offset by a freeze to fuel duty for a further 5 months, followed by a staged increase from 2026. So they're not, excuse me. So they're not raising fuel prices. Okay. Working people deserve a change. That's what she's saying, guys. Working people deserve a change. And listen, guys, she's right. It does feel like working people are getting a change, and it's not a good one. Right, let me jump down, guys, and get some comments. Monocrov is saying the sugar tax itself was said to only raise 4.2 billion over 25 years. This mansion tax will be a joke in either how inefficient it is or how overestimated it is. So look, guys, let's be under no illusion, all right? The mansion tax is, hang on a minute. So the mansion tax, obviously, they're going to keep lowering, as far as I'm concerned, they're going to keep lowering that threshold. So the threshold so far for the mansion tax is 2 million. That's obviously just going to get brought down and down and down and down until we're all, just everybody's paying that. And Monocle guys say, might as well live on bread and water at this point to not get taxed until they tax bread for having salt and sugar in it. Has bread got sugar in it? I don't put sugar in my bread when I make it. Sharon Owen is saying Parliament is embarrassing. It's like watching posh football fans match. Rocketman Gaming is saying definitely a good tool maker. Looking at the tool he's made, budget is a pure joke. Not going to lie. If we're not an investment, we don't matter. And Katrina Murdoch is saying, we all know who have big families, and some picture of dogs and cats and a unicorn and a ship and some flags. Right, let me jump back over, guys.
Supported by a £10 million investment in the semiconductors critical for that industry. And we are building the UK's first small modular nuclear reactors with Rolls-Royce at Wilfer in Anglesey.
That's a good thing.
2 Labour governments working together in Wales to deliver for the people of Wales. And in Scotland, I'm committing over £14 million for low-carbon technologies in Grangemouth, £20 million to renew infrastructure at Inch Green in Inverclyde, and £20 million to redevelop Kirkcaldy Town Centre and Seafront, with construction starting next year. And that's on top of the UK's biggest ever warship export deal with the Norwegian government to build frigates in Glasgow, supporting 4,000 jobs. Investments opposed by the SNP, jobs opposed by the SNP, defence opposed by the SNP, but secured by this Labour government. A growing economy needs strong foundations of economic stability, with borrowing, inflation down and investment up. That is good for business, and it is good for working people, so they have more money in their pockets. Economic stability, safeguarded by ironclad fiscal rules, is our best defence against rising prices and the best way to improve living standards. We've all seen the alternative. 3 years ago, in their clamour to cut taxes for the richest, the Tories under Liz Truss crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates spiralling and brought pensions to the brink. They're being so loud, Madam Deputy Speaker, and yet I can't even hear them now. Now, I know that the leader of the Green Party is a keen hypnotherapist, and he believes that he can achieve remarkable things using only the power of his mind. Unfortunately, the only things getting bigger under his approach would be the deficit and the rate of inflation. And for all the damage that the Conservatives...
I mean, she's doing well. She's doing well. But look, guys, this is pomp and pageantry, right? This is just pomp and pageantry. It's like a show, isn't it? It's like it's pantomime, isn't it? It's pantomime. You know, it really is pantomime. You've got to understand, guys. This is the whole thing here. What we're watching is an absolute pantomime. She will have done this speech time and time and time again. She'll have done it in front of a mirror. She will have done it in front of a coach. She will have done it in front of, she will have done this like in front of like lots of different people. And they will have critiqued her on everything. They will. They'll have critiqued her on everything. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. She's slaying it at the moment. She's doing really well, but I don't trust her. Anybody can act. Anybody can put a good show up. I'm not convinced. The devil is going to be in the detail, guys. It really is. The devil's going to be in the. The devil is going to be in the. The devil's going to be in the detail. Welfare U-turn costs $7 billion. So peeling away, briefly from the Chancellor. Here's a bit more from what the OBR leaked earlier. So the OBR reckons that the reveals to the government's previously announced cuts to winter fuel payment and health-related benefits will cost $7 billion, along with the removal of the two-child cap benefit. Now, guys, that for me, it's not ending well. That does not end well, guys. It doesn't end well. UK economic forecast, guys. This is literally just out now. So this is just out literally a few seconds ago, okay? This is from the BBC. UK economic forecasts growth forecasts, downgraded. GDP will be, UK GDP will be downgraded. Hang on, let me jump down. In 2026, the economy is now expected to expand by 1.5% below a previous forecast of 1.9. So does that mean it's 0.5? I don't know, guys. So I'm just reading this, okay? So 2026, I mean, that's recession, guys. That is recession. So have we just been put into a recession? So the UK economic growth forecast, this is literally just out, guys. I'm reading this off the BBC now. In 2026, let me share this with you because I don't understand what this means. Let me know what you think, because I don't understand what this means. I'm asking for your help here. So in 2026, the UK is now expected to expand by 1.4%. Oh, hang on. Look, we dropped and then we've gone back up. Okay, so we've dropped and we've gone back up. Remember, I told you guys, every time she opens her mouth. Let's just read this, guys, okay? So, and then I'll jump onto that. So in 2026, the UK economy is now expected to expand by 1.4% below a previously forecast 1.9%. Now, does that mean it's going to fall 1.4% below 1.9, which would be 0.5%? Or has it just fell 0.5%? I don't know what that means, guys. I'm at a fucking loss there. I'm not going to lie. I'm at a loss. Right, let's see what this means. How the market reacted. The gilt yields have reacted sharply to the release of the key document from the OBR. At first, the yield on the benchmark of the 10-year gilt. So gilts are like bonds that are held with the government. We fell. However, the yield swiftly recovered all of the ground, and shortly after midday, yields were higher than before the document was emerged. I think that were people trying to cash in, suggesting the outlook was worse than they expected. Some government issues gilts to raise money. The yield is effectively the interest rate it pays on that borrowing. UK government borrowing. Yeah, so, you can't lie with that, guys. But listen, how does this affect everybody in the United Kingdom? This sort of stuff is a fugazi. This sort of stuff here, these graphs and stuff, it's all a fugazi. How is that going to affect you how is that going to affect people in the pocket? And I don't see anything good coming, guys. Like I said, the three main things that I'm seeing, the three main things I'm seeing is the mansion tax, that I think the threshold is going to keep coming down. So they're saying a mansion's 2 million, that's going to come down and down and down. The pay per mile, I think that pay per mile, guys, so they're saying 3 pence pay per mile. I think that's going to go up and up and up and up. So they start by, it's only 3 pence per mile. It's only 4 pence per mile, up and up and up and up. And the two-child cap benefit, that's being lifted now, guys. So go and have loads of kids. Go and have loads of kids, guys. That's what we're saying. KK is saying we're in a catastrophic downturn, worse than a recession. We are, guys. And you can see that there's going to be so the Schiller pricing, I think it's the Schiller index. Listen, guys, this is not financial advice. I am definitely not somebody to advise anybody on financial products. But there's something called the Schiller price index, and when things are overvalued, there's always a financial crash afterwards. So you can go back, you can look from the Great Depression in the 30s, the financial crisis of 2008, where things were like overpriced. Right now, it's a lot worse, guys. Right now, it's a lot worse. Donna is saying, Sean, there'll be a massive property crash, financial crash, all of it. Yeah, that's what I think as well, guys. You know, that's what I think. You Could Be Better says that you should share your oil with the West so we don't have to buy from Saudi. We should share. I don't know where that's coming from. Right, let me jump back onto this, guys. So I do want to...
This year, with thanks to the Minister for Pensions for all his work in this subject, I can go further. I have heard representations from Labour coalfield MPs, including my honourable friends, the members for Bassetlaw, Blyth and Ashington, Barnsley South, Mansfield and Llanelli. And today I can announce that I will transfer the Investment Reserve Fund of the British Coal Staff Superannuation Scheme to its members. So that the men and the women who worked in our coal industry get a fair deal in their retirement too. And more. Having heard representations from my honourable friends, the members for Banbury and the member for Edinburgh South West, I will index for inflation on pensions accrued before 1997 in the Pension Protection Fund and the Financial Assurance Scheme, so that people whose pension schemes became insolvent, no fault of their own, no longer lose out as the result of inflation. Last year, I also provided funding to compensate the victims of the infected blood scandal, after the previous government failed to budget for the costs of compensation. This year, I have listened to representations from my honourable friend, the member for Eltham and Chislehurst, and my honourable friend, the member for Edinburgh South West. And I'd like to thank the Minister for Employment for her representations over many years on this subject. As a result,
So I'm just reading this here, guys, okay? Rachel Reeves unveils specific funds for devolved governments that includes an additional 370 million for Northern Ireland, 505 million for Wales, and 820 million for the Scottish government. Now, when you think about these numbers, you know, one of the things that I've been saying on this channel, and for those of you guys who don't know, I was standing as a candidate at the last election for reform. I resigned because I didn't want to be part of that. I saw how things were working. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to roll with these guys. One of the things I've said is, rather than giving all these people money and they don't know, it doesn't make any sense. One of the things I've said, and when we're looking at these numbers here, this would be well within the manageable rate. You give a fund of £1 million, I think £1 million easy to deal with, to every constituency in the United Kingdom. Everyone, every year they get £1 million fund. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on, guys. Okay, this has just come through, guys, okay? National debt will be 2.6 trillion this year. Wow. 2.6 trillion in debt. Like, who are we in debt to? Like, literally, let me share this. So we have got breaking news, guys. It's just come out. This year, we will be, as a country, I'll share this with you guys, okay? We will be 2.6 trillion in debt this year. Like, who are we in debt to? Like, who do we have to pay this back to? As far as I was concerned, our country, we printed our own money. So who do we owe this money to? Fucking the Decepticons? Reeves attacks the Conservatives for all the damage. They can't keep blaming the Conservatives, can they, guys? Like, how long are they going to keep blaming the Conservatives? Reeves attacks the Conservatives for all the damage that they did to the economy while in government, accusing them of having doubled the national debt. She says that the UK's net financial debt this year will be 2.6 trillion. Wow. Meaning 1 in every £10 the government spends is on debt interest. Jesus. Wow, that's just on interest. Like, who are we paying in? Guys, I don't know who we're paying interest to. And can we not pay them? Like, can we ever, like, whoever we owe this money to, you know, like if you've got a bank loan and you can't afford to pay it, you go insolvent and you're like, well, okay, we'll deal with it. Like, can we have a referendum and just say, I don't want to pay that money back? Is that a thing? Who do we owe this money to? Yeah, she says that 1 in every £10 the government spends is on debt interest. That's without even paying the debt back. She says fiscal rules will get borrowing down while supporting investment. Look, guys, I've got my ear to the close to the ground on this, and you know, I just don't see that. I don't see that investment there happening. Adding that by 2028, the budget balance moves into a surplus. I don't think that will. As a reminder, Rachel Reeves' self-imposed fiscal rules prevent her from borrowing to fund day-to-day spending. She must also have debt as a proportion of GDP falling by 2029. But this thing here, guys, look, this money here, you know, for devolve, whatever it is, you know, there's a lot of money there. Now, one of the things one of the things I've said on this channel before is, rather than, you know, sending money to overseas, rather than just sending this money willy-nilly, I would like to see a fund of £1 million for each constituency. So wherever you live, your local constituency, they get £1 million, all right? And every year, and what they have to do with that £1 million is they have to invest in school leavers or leaving college. So before you go to university, or maybe even university leavers, although I wouldn't go with the university ones because they're like, they're a different thing. I would want to catch kids when they were younger. So I would say, right, if you're 18, 19 or whatever it is, when you're leaving college and you're like, right, do I go to university? Do I go to, you know, what do I do? You know, that you can apply for a fund every year of your local council, whether that's, I don't know, Rotherham, Oxford, Hartlepool, wherever. You know, you apply, you send in a business plan, and the local government then funds that business. And the local government, and as a caveat of that, you employ local people, you always stay in that region, and you build that business in that region. Now, that is how you grow an economy. That's how you invest in an economy, all right? Doing things at the macro, it's not going to work, guys. You need to do things at the micro, and then they will grow. I give you the example all the time. There's a guy just down the road, and he paid either last Christmas or the Christmas before. He did really well, and he gave all his staff £1,000 as a bonus. Well, let's see what she's saying. Let's see what else she's saying. Right, let me jump on here, guys. Yeah, the OBR moved. Yeah, so the OBR's taking it down, but it makes no sense now because all the money's already out. Templar Matt says, Sean, Google who we are. Do you know what? I'm going to do that. Who is Britain in debt to? Right, okay. I'm just gonna read this, guys. Right, so I've just Googled this. I'm going to read it off here. Britain owes money to a variety of entities, including domestic and foreign investors, UK and foreign financial institutions, the Bank of England. How can Britain owe the Bank of England? It makes no sense. Listen, guys, I'm not a financial guy. I know guns, bombs, tanks, planes, trains, automobiles, tactics, strategy, subversion, warfare, grey warfare, conventional warfare, black warfare. I'm not a financial guy. The government borrows money by issuing financial products called gilts, which are purchased by a wide range of investors. Meaning much of the debt is effectively owed to the British people themselves through investments and pensions. The Bank of England, a significant portion of the UK's debt is held by the Bank of England, primarily as a result of quantitative easing and asset purchase programs. So it doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't make sense. Foreign investors and also a substantial portion of UK government debt is held by overseas investors, including foreign governments, central banks, and other private sector investors. Right. We need to get rid of all that shit. Like anything that's like, I always say this, we don't need any foreign money in our country. Like if I was in charge, I would ban all foreign money in the United Kingdom. I say, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your money. We've had a great time, but I don't want you. But like, we owe a lot of money to. Like, how does that work? Surely the Bank of England can write this debt off. Surely, like, why do we even have to pay it back? Right? Like, why do we even have to pay it back? David O'Rourke is saying, have you seen that one of the migrant integration centres spent over Yeah, I did. Yeah, $200,000 on vapes. Pounds. Yeah, could be better. He's saying, this is how they will implement the monthly base salary. Yeah, or universal basic income, as we like to know it. Right. Let me just have a quick check, guys. What's been? I'm looking at the live report in here. Infected blood compensation. Reeves attacks Tories as she announces new funding for public services. What else have we got? Right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining for the first time, we are giving live analysis. Hang on. Sorry, let me turn it on, guys. I'm putting it on.
While ensuring that people...
Order! The noise is far too high. Chancellor.
How small is that girl?
The Right Honourable Lady supported these freezes when her party made them. She might want to forget about it, but the British people never will. At the same time, we are ensuring that people only in receipt of the basic or new state pension do not have to pay small amounts of tax through simple assessment from April 2027. I will also keep the Plan 2 student loan repayments threshold at its 2026-27 level for 3 years. Madam Deputy Speaker, I know that maintaining these thresholds is a decision that will affect working people. I said that last year, and I won't pretend otherwise now. Madam Deputy Speaker, I am asking everyone to make a contribution, but I can keep that contribution as low as possible because I will make further reforms to our tax system today to make it fairer and to ensure that the wealthiest contribute the most. The Conservatives knew that our tax system didn't work. Time and time again, they ducked the necessary reforms, leaving a system unfit for a changing economy, with unfairness that they refused to address. Currently, a landlord with an income of £25,000 will pay nearly £1,200 less in tax than their tenant with the same salary, because no national insurance is charged on property, dividend, or savings income. It's not fair that the tax system treats different types of income so differently. And so I will increase the basic and higher rate of tax on property, savings and dividend income by 2 percentage points, and the additional rate of tax on property and savings income by 2 percentage points. Even after these reforms, 90% of taxpayers will still pay no tax at all on their savings. As well as narrowing the gap between the tax on income from assets and income from work, I also believe that a fair society is one where the wealthiest pay their fair share. The reforms I made last year will raise an additional £8 billion a year by 2020-30 from wealth. I increased taxes last year on private equity, private schools and private jets. I abolished the non-dom tax regime. And this year, I will make 2 changes to cap trust charges and prevent avoidance. I reformed inheritance tax on agricultural and business assets. And this year, I am aligning those reforms with wider inheritance tax rules by allowing the transfer of the 100% relief allowance between spouses, balancing the taxation of these valuable assets with the realities of family life. In this budget, I will take further steps to deal with a long-standing source of wealth inequality in our country. A Band D home in Darlington or Blackpool pays just under £2,400 in council tax, nearly £300 more than a £10 million mansion in Mayfair. And so, from 2028,
I don't know where she's getting that from.
Introducing the high-value council tax surcharge in England, an annual £2,500 charge for properties worth more than £2 million, rising to £7,500 for properties worth more than £5 million. This will be collected alongside council tax, levied on owners, and we will consult on options for support or deferral. This new surcharge will raise over £400 million by 2031 and will be charged on less than the top 1% of properties.
I'm calling bullshit.
Madam Deputy Speaker, reliefs in our tax system cost the taxpayer billions.
Okay, guys, just quickly, to raise 400 million, but from now and 2031, that is peanuts, guys. That's peanuts. That's not even, that's nothing. That's like a few migrants in hotels. The real sinisterness of this is that threshold will come down, guys, okay? They've introduced a tax now, and everybody's like, oh, well, my house isn't worth £2 million. I don't care. Those millionaires, that's fine. But what about when it's 1.5 million? How are those houses going to be sold? Who's going to buy those houses? Who values these houses? Can you imagine? Sorry, guys, hang on,
Pounds a year. Else pays. And so I am introducing a £2,000 cap on salary sacrifice into a pension, with contributions above that taxed in the same way as other employee pension contributions. That is a pragmatic step so that people, especially on low and middle incomes, can continue to use salary sacrifice for their pension without paying any more in tax than they do now, and to give individuals and employers time to adjust to these new arrangements. These changes will come into effect in 2029.
Again, this is a new tax now. This is a new tax. So when you introduce new taxes, you can then raise or lower that threshold.
Taxed when businesses are sold. I will reduce that relief to 50%, retaining a strong incentive for employee-owned companies. And as we work towards doubling the size of the cooperative economy, the Department for Business and Trade will launch a call for evidence on how we can better support co-ops to grow. Because of the changes that I have made to capital gains tax this year and last year, receipts are forecast to increase from £14 billion this year to £30 billion by 2030. To support our high streets, I am announcing a package of regulatory changes as called for by UK hospitality, and the British Retail Consortium. And I will support the Great British Pub through our new national licensing framework, encouraging councils to back our pubs and to back late-night venues with greater freedoms.
Let me jump back over, guys. Okay, so there's now four new taxes, and these are the things that like I'm noticing. So there's four things now. There's the the new one that I've just spoke about there is the salary sacrifice tax. So as I understand it, I didn't really understand what this was before, but you can, if you get paid X amount of pounds, what you can say is, right, I'm happy with, rather than getting all that, I will sacrifice part of my salary that goes into a pension pot. Now, the problem when you make up new taxes is you can either raise that threshold. So we say we're only gonna charge you on your first, I don't know, £2,000, and then you say, right, okay, now your first 1,500, and then by the time you know it, you're getting taxed on it all. Then there's the mansion tax, and that's going to come down. There's quite a lot of things here, guys. You know, you've got the pay per mile, lots of crazy stuff happening. Let them stay open later. That's how they make more. Jokery. I don't know what that's. Oh, I think we talked. Okay, so we talked about the new pubs tax, the new pubs thing. Yeah, they're saying, you know, if they let pubs stay open later, like, listen, my sister's got a restaurant, and it's not her staying open later. It's getting people to come through the door and spend money. That's what she needs. Like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh, here we are. Gizzaland is saying, oh, I thought he was saying change my mind. What is he saying? All right, yeah. Tax is communism. It is, guys. All tax is theft. There's no way, you can't tax your way into prosperity. It doesn't work, guys, all right? You can't tax your way into prosperity. Tell me taxing people, you know, it's like this, right? This is what it's like when you tax somebody, you know. This is what it's like when you tax someone. You take money out of that pocket and you put it into that pocket. That's tax. You know, you don't achieve anything. The only way for me to get more money in my pockets, I need to get somebody else's money into my pockets. Am I right? You know, as a country, we need to get rid of all taxes and start taking money off other countries. That's the only way. And you know, Gizzaland, I agree with you. All taxes, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. Right, let me refresh this and let me see if there's been any updates real quick. Mobility reform. She will remove luxury vehicles. So Chancellor announces the mobility Chancellor announces mobility reforms. Rachel Reeves says the mobility scheme has confirmed that it will remove luxury vehicles. Like, I don't even know how that was a thing, guys. I don't even know how that was a thing. So apparently if you're, if you've got mental health problems, you get a free car. And I don't even know how it works, guys. Please, somebody put it in the chat. But I didn't realize that you could get luxury vehicles on that. Now, I don't know what they're classing luxury vehicles as. As Rachel Reeves speaks, MPs study OBR report on their phones. Labour MPs gave Rachel Reeves a loud and sustained cheer as she stood up to deliver the budget. They are at the loudest when the Chancellor blames the Conservatives. Right, let me jump back, guys, see what's happening.
And changes to the soft drinks industry levy announced by my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, yesterday. And I'd like to thank the Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury for his work.
Sorry, guys, I missed it there. Total douchebag of me. She was talking about alcohol and tobacco.
In response to the rise in online gambling. Remote gaming is associated with the highest levels of harm. And so I am increasing remote gaming duty from 21% to 40%. With duty on online betting increasing from 15% to 25%. I am making no change to the taxes on in-person gambling or on horse racing. And I am abolishing bingo duty entirely from April next year. Taken together, my reforms to gambling tax will raise over £1 billion per year by 2031. As a result of the tax reforms I have made today, I can confirm that I will not be increasing national insurance, the basic, higher or additional rates of income tax or VAT. And I have kept everyone's contribution as low as possible through reforms to make our tax system stronger, closing loopholes, ensuring that the wealthiest pay their share, and building a tax system that is fairer for the future as our economy changes. On the day I became Chancellor, I said that I would judge my time in office a success if I knew that ordinary children from working class backgrounds were living more fulfilling lives. Their horizons expanded, their potential realised. I joined the Labour Party, I came into politics because I believe that every child has equal worth and deserves an equal chance to achieve their promise. The biggest barrier to equal opportunity is child poverty. Because for every child that grows up in poverty, our society pays a triple cost. The first and the heaviest is to the child. Going to school hungry, waking up in a cold home, or in another B&B. While other children enjoy the advantages of parents with time to help with homework, the quiet space at home to work in, too many go without. And there is also the cost of supporting a family in poverty, which ends up in the lap of overstretched councils, who can do no more than shunt them into temporary accommodation at huge cost to local taxpayers. Then there is the future cost to our economy and to our society, of wasted talent and a welfare system that bears the cost of failure for decades to come. Young people with so much to contribute, but whose potential is suffocated early by limited life chances and missed opportunities.
I'm actually agreeing with everything she's saying now, guys. She's right in what she's saying.
I don't intend to preside over a status quo that punishes children for the circumstances of their birth and demands that we all pay 3 times over for it. Since last July, we've rolled out free breakfast clubs in schools. We're expanding free school meals to 500,000 more kids, lifting 100,000 children out of poverty.
Guys, look, I'm just going to say this, and this might be unpopular. If you're giving people extra money and to look after their children and they're not looking after their children, if you keep giving them extra money, they're not going to look after their children anymore. They're just going to spend that money on themselves more.
They said it would save money and that it would bring about behavioural change, disincentivising poorer families from having more children. Well, even on its own terms, it failed. The welfare bill has continued to rise, and there's been no difference in the size of families. But what it has done is to push hundreds of thousands of children into poverty since it was introduced. They said they were punishing parents' choices, but it's the kids who have paid the price. They've paid the price for the policies of a party.
I disagree with this, guys. I disagree with this massively. You know, and I know this is not going to be everybody. I know and I accept that this is not going to be everybody. If you have parents who are not looking after their children because they're putting 200 quid in their lips, or, you know, or they're going out every weekend, you know, giving them more money isn't going to help those children. Giving them more money is just going to give them more money not to spend on their children. Now, that's what I think, guys. You know, that's what I think. I totally understand that people will be in different situations and people will be in different places. I don't think this is going to work at all. Like, I think this is going to have Seth, Cess is the word I'm looking for, guys. I think we're in now, guys. We're just gonna go into an absolute cesspit. Oh, Donna is saying Reeves says she will find another 4.9 billion of efficiency savings by 2031. Some of that will come from getting rid of police and crime commissioners. Thank you for the super chat, Donna. Thank you for the super chat. This is one of the things, like, you know, this is okay. So this is one of the things that I said, isn't it? You know, this is going to be a move towards employing private security companies, you know, employing private security companies now to assist in the police. So like Donna says there, you know, if she's saying she can get another 4.5 billion from efficiency savings, some of that will come from getting rid of the police. So now we're look, guys, and we are like, who's going to do all this policing? I've said this, guys. I've said this a long time. I've said this for a long time. I believe we're heading into a situation where we use private security to support the police. And that's what's coming. And if they axe a lot of police officers' jobs, you know, that's what's going to happen. And then slowly but surely, that's going to, you know, that threshold will be lifted or lowered, whichever way it is. Wrong. Poverty is a serious adverse child event. However, we must address other issues like domestic abuse and young carers, aka children caring for adults. Yeah, I'm just not convinced on this 2-child cap, guys. I'm just not convinced. Yes, that is exactly what I was going to say. In fact, let me jump onto here, guys, and then sorry, guys. Hang on. I'll come back onto that in a second.
But you get more exercise about reducing child poverty than you do about the richest paying more. Under this government, wages have risen by more since we were elected than in 10 years under the last government, with lower interest rates already saving families £1,200 a year off a typical new mortgage, compared to when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. But I know that people still face pressure on their budgets day to day and week to week. And where there is more to do, where we can provide relief, we are doing it. Extending the bus fare cap, cracking down on rip-off price hikes, freezing prescription charges, and freezing rail fares for the first time in 30 years. I am increasing the basic and new state pension by 4.8%, an increase of £440 per year for the basic state pension, and an increase of £575 per year for the new state pension, in line with our commitment to the triple lock. At the election, we promised a genuine living wage, and we are delivering it. At the budget last year, I increased the national minimum wage and the national living wage, and I am doing the same this year too. Accepting the recommendations of the Low Pay Commission in full, and increasing the minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds from £10 to £10.85 an hour, and increasing the living wage from £12.21 to £12.71 an hour. Under current plans, the temporary 5p cuts of fuel duty that was introduced during the pandemic will come to an end in April, and fuel duty will be uprated in line with inflation. But I know that the cost of travelling to and from work is still too expensive. And so I am extending the 5p cut until September 2026. And because I know that changes in wholesale prices are not always passed on to motorists, I am bringing in new rules to mandate petrol forecourts to share real-time price rises through a new fuel finder, empowering drivers to find the cheapest fuel, calling out rip-offs and strengthening competition, saving the average household £40 a year. Madam Deputy Speaker, One of the greatest drivers of the rising cost of living is the cost of energy prices. The cause of high energy bills must be tackled at source. And so we are investing in energy security, in nuclear and renewable energy, and in insulation through our Warm Homes Plan.
Okay, so I just want to jump onto this comment here, guys. You know, online gambling and gambling, it's ridiculous. Now, if Rachel Reeves is worried about gambling and the harm it does to people, I agree, ban it altogether. Now, she's not banning it, she's just taxing it more. So what she's saying is, you're allowed to hurt people as long as you pay. That's literally what she's saying. You know, you're allowed to hurt people, you know, as long as you pay a hefty tax for that. Guys, I'm just going to read this. This is from an hour ago from JD Weatherspoons. I'm not going to share the screen because there's like millions of ads on it. But this is from like The Sun. I think it was an hour ago or something. The boss of Weatherspoons had issued a warning as alcohol prices are set to rise following Rachel Reeves's budget. Weatherspoons chief Sir Tim Martin said pubs would struggle to survive if the Chancellor goes ahead with the 4.5% duty today. The move would see a bottle of red wine go up by 16 pence and a bottle of gin climb by 47 pence, just as pubs are already dealing with tax and wage hikes. Sir Tim told the Metro, the pubs and hospitality industry bore the brunt of the big tax increases in national insurance contributions only a few months ago. He said, increasing alcohol duty would again affect pubs more than any other industry. When most have not recovered from the pandemic, pubs have lost half of their beer volumes to supermarkets in the last 25 years, he said, adding, no industry can survive this level of attrition. Do you know what, guys? I'm seeing a new thing. I'm seeing something new emerge from this. I'm seeing something new emerge from these, I'm seeing something new emerge. I'm seeing these smaller pubs and these smaller breweries start to emerge, and they're not bound by a big brewery that's selling, the high street pints or whatever it is. Right, let's jump back. Let's jump back, guys, and see. She's still talking. Let's see what she's saying.
With money off bills and prices frozen, all while keeping every single one of our manifesto commitments. Those are my choices.
Order. Mr. Rankin, Miss Moulton, your voice carries right across the chamber. Right across the chamber.
Is she on work experience? Is that lady on work experience, guys? Look how small she is in that chair.
Those are my choices. Not austerity, not reckless borrowing, but cutting the debt, cutting waiting lists, and cutting the cost of living. Those are Labour choices, promised and delivered by this budget, promised and delivered by this Labour government. And Madam Deputy Speaker, I commend this statement to the House.
I think we're done. I think we're done.
Under Standing Order number 51, the first motion entitled Provisional Collection of Taxes must be decided without debate. Will the Chancellor of the Exchequer please move formally? Chancellor, please move formally.
Formally.
The question is that pursuant to Section 5 of the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act 1968, provisional statutory effect shall be given to the following motions. Stamp duty reserve tax, UK listing relief, motion number 60. Rates of tobacco products duty, motion number 65. As many of their opinions say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. We now come to the motion entitled Income Tax Charge. It is on this motion that the debate will take place today and on the succeeding days. The questions on this motion and on the remaining motions will be put at the end of the budget debate on Tuesday, the 2nd of December. I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer to move the motion formally.
Formally.
The question is that income tax is charged for the tax year 2026-27.
Right, I'm not interested in that waffle, guys. Right, I didn't catch, guys, did anybody catch alcohol? I caught fuel. Did anybody catch alcohol and tobacco? Did anybody catch that? I totally missed that. I think I was, now there's something, yeah, so I'm trying to, trying to find, did anybody catch alcohol and alcohol tobacco? Because I know they're going to be big things, you know, they're easy wins. Right, let me jump onto the chat. Right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon, actually, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Donna is saying, I'm not understanding it. I think there is something hidden with all of this. It doesn't make sense. They are trying to get the vote from the people who are financially struggling for next term. It makes a lot of this stuff makes no sense, guys. Use cash only. Trending micro pubs hate cash. The micro pubs near me, they only take cash. They only take cash. They're pretty cool, actually. Donna is saying, what are they trying to achieve? I've never trusted them, and this does not. No, it doesn't. It just seems weird to me, guys. It just seems weird. Did anybody catch the alcohol? I didn't catch the alcohol. What that's going up? I'm just going to try and Google it now, real quick, guys. Did alcohol right? I've no idea what's happening, guys. I'm not getting a definitive answer on this. God knows, no idea. You know, that is a big one. That is a big one, because I do think there's like a war on pubs, and there's certainly a war on farmers. I mean, there was this new there was this new not new. There was a protest planned today in the United Kingdom by the farmers, and the farmers have been told they're not allowed to do that protest. Now, I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure that goes in line with being a you know, I'm pretty much sure that goes in line with being a tyrannical government when you don't let people protest peacefully. The government with permanent lower tax rates from hospitality. Right, electric cars. I don't have an electric car. I don't think I would ever buy one. I might have one of those, you know, those Hyundai Vision 74s. Is it 74? Vision 74, I think. The Chancellor announces a new electric vehicle excise duty. She explains this will be payable each year alongside vehicle excise duty at 3 pence per mile. Yeah, 3 pence per mile. Now, these are the ones, guys, that should be terrifying, because yes, it's only 3 pence per mile, but guess what? Next year we can say, oh, we're putting a penny on that. The year after, we're putting a penny on that, and by the time you know it, you'll be paying more. You know, so and then they'll say, right, we need hydrogen cars. We need hydrogen cars now. We need some hydrogen cars because these electric cars are a bit of a faff. Right, listen, guys. I'm gonna get the chat, and then I'm gonna close this down. The devil's going to be in the detail with this budget, guys, okay? There's 4 new taxes. So for me, the new taxes are the ones that like are terrifying. There's 4 new taxes. Now, when you introduce these new taxes, it's very easy to raise that tax or lower the threshold when you have to pay those tax. And nobody really, and it's easier to, it's easier to move that. "42 psi in the tires." What does that mean? I don't know what that means. 42 psi in the tires. Right. Oh, the farmers did protest. Right. I thought the protest was cancelled. Oh, okay, right. Okay. So so what I'm getting from these messages here, guys. Okay, sorry, I may have totally missed this. What I'm getting from this is the protests have gone ahead. Right, okay, so the protests have gone ahead, but was I not right in thinking that the police came out and cancelled those protests? I'm pretty sure the police came out and cancelled those protests. "I don't drink, so I won't be paying alcohol tax, but other people should brew their own." They should, Templamat, they should. Maybe I'll get a tax on mine. Yeah, the police is just okay, right? Okay, so the farmers' protest, as I understand it, guys, and I'm getting this from you. The farmers' protest was cancelled, but they turned up anyway. Am I getting that right? Am I right with that farmers' protest? And look, ladies and gentlemen, right? Above anything else, all right? Maybe water. In fact, only above water. We need to eat, so we need to be supporting our farms. We need to be supporting our farmers. Yeah, James is saying, yeah, there was cancelled, but the tractors rolled in anyway. Hence the arrestings. Oh, Nigel Farage is offering it legal. Right. Okay, guys, listen, if you've been following my channel, I've said this is going to come for a while. Can you imagine when there's mass protests about something and, somebody really big like Elon Musk says, "I'm going to give legal aid to everybody who's been arrested for this protest." Can you imagine what effect that's going to have? But look, guys, I'm totally standing on the side of farmers. I think it's ridiculous. Farmers don't like it. It's such a weird dynamic, because you see farmers with like machinery that's worth millions of pounds, but they don't earn millions of pounds. You have to have the, and it's the profit margins are very thin. And like we back onto fields. And when it's like, especially like at the end of summer, when all the crops need, like, I don't know what they do, like harvesting, I guess, these guys are out literally from dawn till dusk, like, and they'll have the lights on their, they really work hard, farmers, and they don't get that much money from the food. I think we should all pay more for food, and we should stop relying on foreign imports. What that would do, that would encourage more people to grow their own. And, I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm probably the worst. I'm probably the worst. I'm probably the worst with this, because we grew potatoes like a couple of years ago. We got loads of potatoes, and then I tried growing. I tried growing tomatoes. Didn't get one. I kind of gave up on that. Templamat is saying, "Sean, the farmers say the country only has 6 days of reserve food." I read a book once, and it was called I can't remember what it was called. The book, I think it was called like 6 Meals to Armageddon or something. And what they were saying is most people only keep 6 meals. 6 meals in their fridge, and then the food will run out. And if we don't rely on going to the supermarket. Guys, look, I would say everybody stockpiles. You know, everybody should be stockpiling anyway. Households face Christmas dinner being ruined amid shortage of a staple. Brits could face the Great Turkey Shortage. The Great Turkey Shortage of 2025. Well, listen, guys, you know, got some craziness going on. And Donna is saying in capital letters, so I've got to read it out. Anybody who doesn't understand farming, custom purchasing, go and watch Clarkson's Farm. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now. The budget doesn't look good. They've been making new. They've brought in a few. They've brought in new taxes, and it's never a good thing when they bring in new taxes because you know they can always raise that tax at a later date or lower that threshold. Some crazy stuff's coming. Thank you for the supers, guys. Donna, thank you for the super. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back on this evening. I will, good sirs. Yes, I'll be back on this evening at 8. Let the dust settle. We'll be talking about this more. We'll be talking about conscription as well because the Germans have done it. The French are starting it. People are saying, should the British start conscription now? We're going to be talking about that. We've got more news from Ukraine. We've got more news from Venezuela. My friend will be in Venezuela on Thursday. So what are we on today? Tomorrow. He'll be in Venezuela on tomorrow, so may be able to get an update on what's happening on the ground in Venezuela. But anyway, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Just get ready. Get yourself stockpiling. Go and get a turkey now if you can, and I will see. And if you're new to the channel, guys, make sure you've hit that like, excuse me, like, follow, subscribe buttons, guys. They really help me out, and I'll see you guys later on, and I'll be back on at 8 o'clock UK time, and I'll see you later.